Good afternoon, my dear viewer. A remnant artifact / obelisk type figurine embedded in the side of an ancient tomb. An ancient tomb, eh? You know what? I feel like hi, it's zAiDiBoy. Thanks for watching. It's kind of raining here in Toronto and / snowing, and I have to say I feel so confused making these videos. I might as well tell you I'm bipolar in case you hadn't figured it out, and oftentimes I'll make these videos when I am experiencing bursts of mania. Now, for the longest time I thought I'd overcome that stuff because my whole bipolar condition, as it were, we're in a cemetery just across from where my beautiful ex-wife lives, and as in other parts of Toronto, it's marvelous, and we're literally just a hop and you want us to wait for the camera? As in other parts of Toronto.
She's going to, because it starts getting cold, she's going to start limping. You will see.
Limping?
Yeah.
It's not that cold. Anyway, so I have these little manic bursts of creativity / whatever you want to call it. I mean, it used to be really bad. I mean, I've been in shelters over the last 5 years, in street fights with 2x4s and fucking knives, and guys who their hands are like cement kind of deal. It's pretty messed up stuff. Jail. Through the grace of God, I don't have a criminal record. After working in the corporate world for 10 years, I've been working security for the last 5 years, and for me, the whole thing was just this marvelous adventure. I mean, is that irresponsible? I guess. But for me, life is about experience. It's really not about what you have, but what you do, right? And not even what you do, but what you are. It's like Eric Fromm, F-R-O-M-M, this great thinker and intellectual kind of guy, philosopher, you might say, social scientist in the 60s, talked about to be, to do, and to have. I guess this is a good enough subject for this video. I was going to talk about the fact and my pain of losing Daniel Dennett as a follower on Twitter. But to be honest with you, watch out for the car. To be honest with you, it doesn't really bother me anymore, because I mean, the thing is, at the end of the day, you know what? Yes, he's a world famous atheist, and how cool is that? That out of like 36 people he was following, I was one of them. Then I made this strange video the other day, and one of my atheist friends was like, "What?" ? And she copied Daniel Dennett on it. And in that video, I was slightly more manic than I am right now, and I don't know, maybe he watched it and fucking thought, I don't want to be associated with this. Because in the video I was talking about how I think he's such a cool guy, and you just want to give the guy a hug. He's like your grandfather figure / Santa Claus teddy bear type effect. Anyway, I'm actually done with making atheist videos, I think to myself, because the whole thing goes round in circles. To us it seems self-evident. And I was just talking to another atheist friend on my YouTube channel, and he said, well, don't just say, look, there's a tree, oh, there must be a God. That doesn't make any sense. And then on the one hand, I totally get, I would say the vast majority, 98% of what atheists say seems cogent, and it does seem to make sense. And I believe they have a God-given function. I call them intellectual warriors on the battlefield of truth and justice, right? Like, that's what Daniel Dennett is. That's what Sam Harris essentially claims himself to be. Like, I mean, basically, he blogged the other day about Chris Hitchens, another famous atheist of past ages who passed away like five years ago. Now, Chris Hitchens was a great guy. Now, he wrote a book called God Is Not Great. Like, I'm a Muslim. I still practically hero worship the guy. Like, I've written books, nobody's published, well, one of them's getting published right now, but nobody's published my books. No one's read my blogs. I got over 500 videos on YouTube. No one listens to that stuff. And Buddy is a famous dude, and he's on TV, and they're asking him what he thinks about David Irving and all this kind of stuff. So who am I to put him down? Have I done anything of that nature? No. Would I like to? Yeah. So props to the guy. And besides, as I mentioned, I think 98% of what atheists say makes total sense. And I believe them to be warriors on the battlefield of truth and logic. And I believe that they have a God-given function, no less. God-given function. What do you see over there? They have a God-given function, in my mind, to basically to essentially call religious people to account and question the veracity of their beliefs, in as much as their beliefs being either unfounded or founded. And the distinction is that of reason and logic. And the supposition is that religious people don't have a basis for their faith. There's two things that pop out in this whole discussion vis-a-vis atheism and so-called belief, right? I say so-called belief because to us it's self-evident. And in fact, let's put it this way. In Islam, the word kufr for unbelief doesn't actually mean unbelief. It's like Richard Dawkins said something interesting in his book. Interesting. I'm publishing a rebuttal to the no-God delusion, or the God delusion. Mine is called the no-God delusion. His book was 350 pages of nonsense, quite frankly. He's got the brain of a 12-year-old as far as I'm concerned. You know what? We've been told don't put people down and don't talk bad at people. But to me, he's actually a self-obsessed idiot with academic credentials that it's like the dollar. The dollar's worthless. Like right now, it's worthless. It's not backed up by gold. It hasn't been backed up by gold since the early 50s or whatever, or late 40s. After the Second World War, the gold standard was dropped, and the other G7 nations made a bit of a fuss about it, and then it's like, oh, that's fine. And now the States is the biggest debtor country in the world, and there are hundreds of trillions of dollars in debt. And one day, OPEC is going to say, hey, listen, we're not going to trade on the dollar anymore. We are going to trade on the euro. Right? And then you're fucked. And the reason OPEC hasn't done that is because of what's going on with the euro. The euro, I mean, the funny thing is this. On the outside, America and Europe are meant to be allies. And now the funny thing is, like, Great Britain has broken away. And it's so interesting that Obama was not happy with this, at least publicly. Who knows what's going on in these people's minds? I used to hero worship Obama, and I'm not so sure. Like, I read an Alex Cockburn, props, alt left. I read an Alex Cockburn article from past in The Nation, okay? Or something like that. TheNation.com. Go check it out. And basically, I gotta hurry here. My wife element's all the way down at the end here, and it is raining. It was meant to be snowing. I'm not sure whether I'm happier that it's raining or snowing. And yeah, I wanted to talk about Be, Do, and they're making a movie here. Huh? That's like movie production stuff. There's a truck coming around the side there. They're actually shooting yonder there. There was like chairs set up in front of a grave. Oh my God, there goes my camera. And that's a raindrop, by the way. So you can see how intent I am on transmitting and communicating to you, dear user. And obviously it's a bunch of nonsense. She's camera shy. So yeah, they're making a movie up here, eh? And down the way there was a bunch of chairs set up in front of a grave. And I was telling my wife, like, movie production, I know I'm rambling. No one listens to this stuff anyway. Either you dig my flow of thought or you don't, right? Basically, my stream of consciousness, as it were. I wanted to talk about Eric Fromm, to be, to do, and to have. And I've lived in shelters and all this kind of garbage, but I consider that to be experiential riches, right? let's say, oh, I have this great car, right? Or I live in a great house. This is not a house, by the way. This is a graveyard. That would be a church. Or let's say, hey, I'm an acclaimed scientist, or whatever the hell it is, like that people are running after in this world. Versus a guy like me, I'm not saying it's good or bad or that you should adopt this kind of lifestyle. I've been basically a nomad in Toronto for the last 5 years, right? Basically just getting into fights, jail, shelters, psych wards. I've been in like 5 psychiatric wards from Toronto to Alberta. I took a Greyhound bus home once to Calgary, and in fact, that's what I want to do here shortly. Go see my parents. But to be, to do, and to have. So to have things and titles and respect and anything external, to have, that is not important. It's simply not important. All you need is the necessities, which is food, shelter, and clothing and all this kind of crap. To do is more important than to have. And Eric Fromm stipulates the ultimate is to be, right? To be, which is what? You are self-actualized and you become all that you were meant to be. And that happens through what you do. Or does it? I guess it would be a case of what you do as well as your set of values and whatnot. I mean, this is this philosophical rantings of an unemployed would-be e-commerce multi-millionaire blogger who's on his way to getting there as we speak. But anyway, I'm going to let you go. This is just rambling nonsense. Chris Hitchens, awesome, thumbs up. Daniel Dennett, thumbs up. Sam Harris, I'm gunning for you. And if you got anything out of this, that's great. Leave me a comment or give me a thumbs down. Asking for a thumbs up, obviously, is out of the question. I don't know why I do this stuff either. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to have bothered you. Goodbye now.